Hello everyone, welcome to English Kaksha. Today we are going to start English literature of 11th class and the very first poem, A Photograph, that is beautifully composed by Shirley Telson. This poem is a tribute to her mother, to whom she lost at an early age. And while looking at her photograph, she recalls the memories of her mother. What kind of pain and emotions she feels, let's see in the poem. So let's start reading of the poem. The poem A Photograph is written by Shirley Telson. Shirley Telson was a highly regarded poet and an innovative writer. She had a huge passion for writing and was greatly influenced by her father, who was a writer too. Now we will see what is given in this poem, A Photograph. Actually, this poem is a tribute to the poet's mother. 3 stages of time span is focused here. This poem emphasizes the transience of human life, death and mysteries surrounding them. Transience means a very short state of something. Now we will read stanza 1. The cardboard shows me how it was when the 2 girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she is the big girl, some 12 years or so. The cardboard is the frame, photo frame, shows me how it was when the 2 girl cousins went paddling. Paddling means walking. Each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she is the big girl, some 12 years or so. Actually, in these lines, the poet is looking at an old photograph or photo album, which is made up of a cardboard. In the picture, there are 3 girls who are walking on the beach, holding each other's hands. The girl in the middle is the tallest. Big girl is the tallest and oldest. The other 2 on each side are younger than her. The girl in the middle is the poet's mother, and she is around 12 years old when this picture was taken. Right? Now we will read stanza 2. All 3 stood still to smile through their wet hair or hair at the uncle with the camera, a sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. In these lines, the poet describes how the photograph was taken. Her mother's uncle took the photograph and told them to stop and pause. All 3 of them left their wet hair open and smiled at the camera. The poet's attention is drawn towards her mother's face, which is described here as sweet face. Right? The poet calls their feet terribly transient. Why? Because as they are young, by then and now they had grown older. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. On the other hand, the sea, which touched their feet, has changed less. Right? Now we will read stanza 3. Some 20-30 years later, she had laughed at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly. Betty and Dolly are the names of the cousin of her mother. She had said, or she would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. After 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the photograph. Here the poet says that after 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the photograph and she would tell me to look at her cousins, Betty and Dolly. And she would tell how their parents would dress all 3 of them up for the beach. They would have planned to take a photograph beforehand. It was their planning to go to the beach and to take a photograph. Right? Now we will read stanza 4. This is very important. The sea holiday was her past, mine is her laughter. Both vary with the labored ease of loss. These lines with the labored ease of loss are very important. I will tell you these separately also. The sea holiday was her past, mine is her laughter. Here the poet recalls the sea holiday was her mother's favorite moment from the past, while the poet's favorite moment from the past was her mother's laughter when she was recalling her mother. Both women would think about those past memories which they cannot live again, and they tried their best to adjust to what they lost. Now I will tell you the meaning. Both vary with the labored ease of loss. Here in these above lines, the poet's mother felt pain wherever she saw or whenever she saw the photograph because the innocent childhood days would never come back. And both tried their best to adjust to what they lost. Now, stanza 5. Now she has been dead nearly as many years as the girl lived, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. Its silence silences. In these lines, the poet says that her mother died 12 years ago and same age her mother was in the photograph. Whenever the poet thinks of her mother's death, she cannot explain what effect she has of her mother's death. Death has silenced her mother, and which has also left her speechless. Means after the death there was silence from the side of her mother. She was not talking to her, and the poet was also silent to express her pain. Now we will see which literary devices are used in the poem. First is alliteration. Stood still. Here S is repeated. Through here T is repeated. Terribly transient. Here also T is repeated. That's why it is alliteration. Repetition is also seen in the last stanza. Here silence silences. One word is repeated, silence. That's why it is repetition. Next is oxymoron. Oxymoron is when two words that are contradictory in itself are called oxymoron. Like in the stanza, labored ease is used. Labored means hard work and ease is comfort. So how labored and ease can be joined together? So these are contradictory words. Epithet. Epithet means a phrase expressing a quality of a person or something that is terribly transient. So this is from the poem A Photograph. I think each and everything is clear to you. Thank you.